Hello, guys. I'm Linds, and I'm the host for today's podcast. I'm joined with my friends of different generations, including Gen Z, Millennial, and Gen X, and that's basically our show. Today's topic is about thrifting, and I'm a Gen Z.
Hi, I'm Lindsay's sister, Rose. I'm also a Gen Z. I attended Marquette, but now I'm a student at UIC, majoring in psychology and then minoring in film.
Awesome. I'm Sergio. So happy to be on this podcast, and I'm Generation X, and I love this topic because I love thrifting at Goodwill, Savers, and like basically anywhere.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm a millennial and I used to go to Marquette. Now I am a school based therapist.
Now that we all introduce ourselves, we're going to start off with the first topic, which is like, how has thrifting changed in your opinion slash your lifetime growing up, or just how you've seen it change?
Well, I mean, as someone who's born in the 90s, even though I don't really know the majority of the 90s anyway, but but I mean, I see it like, or it was whenever my cousin Sophia, who's also Gen Z, because she's like 18 now. Like, I remember it just at some point when she was in high school and I was like in college, it like thrifting was like a trend. It became like a thing. Like, I really didn't see it as like a term or a phrase. Like, growing up, I was like, oh, go to Goodwill or go to like a secondhand shop. It wasn't really like a term or like a thing where it's like, oh, like, look what I'm
Let's go
thrifting today, or
yeah.
let's go thrifting and stuff. So that's just how I've experienced it.
So I want to go next since I'm like the next or closer to your generation, and I definitely remember being in high school and that brand names were a big deal, and like getting Tommy Hilfiger was.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
brand names were a big deal when I went too. Like, or like
It's my turn, stuff.
I'm just saying. I agree.
Oh, okay. And I think that like, what was I gonna say? No, I was being mean. And
Name brands?
Oh yeah, name brands were
Tommy
big.
Hilfiger, you said.
So like I grew up like during Abercrombie and Fitch, and like Tommy Hilfiger was big, and I was gonna say the question was how has it changed? I feel like now people are much more open to like the diversity of style because I think because thrifting is not only like cheaper, but it's also like more sustainable to reuse things.
Yeah.
So I also
Eco-friendly.
but I'm also a bad person to talk to because I buy things I don't need at these thrift stores.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, I'm a Gen Z. So like in the early 2000s, like I feel like when I was like in elementary school, thrifting or like going to Goodwill was like looked down upon. Like it was like you're poor. Like
Once upon a child.
Yeah, like I was kind of embarrassed to like go to Goodwill. But then as I got older, like you were saying, like it started becoming so trendy and it was like, let's go thrifting, and like it became so popular. And I mean, like I wish I like enjoyed it more when I was younger. But like I don't know, I feel like it has definitely changed.
I think when you're like small, like seeing clothing as like it's reused, like it's not like original, it's not fresh from the store, you're kind of like, oh, why do I want to wear this? Like all the kids, they didn't get this for Christmas. Like they got like all the Justice clothes and like
And I remember
name
being
brands.
like so excited to see like a Justice shirt at Goodwill.
Like we would be
oh my
so
God.
excited. We'd be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like that was like the one good thing, or like the toys. We
Yeah.
would be very happy about the toys too, because they're cheap.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting thing, like because obviously when you go to a thrift store, it's not the new product, but like that also could be like a good thing because I do think every generation kind of does glorify like the past sometimes. Like I don't know, the '80s thing kind of came back with I don't know if that was because of Stranger Things, but like
Yeah.
and it's
And then the 90s came back.
I love
Yeah.
90s
Yeah.
clothes or 80s.
So it's interesting, and I always think of the Macklemore song like "I'm gonna steal your grandpa's style" or something. Anyway,
That's funny because I literally only like that's all my
My
clothing is
grandpa.
from like thrift stores and Goodwill. My sister's just like, you literally dress like a grandpa.
Yeah, she does.
But I'm like,
true.
it's nice.
So
like
you relate to
like,
that.
Yeah, like I think it
comfy.
fits me.
But
Yeah.
can we talk about how like what's the next topic though?
Oh, the next question, yeah.
So the next topic is like, do you guys think it's ethical to like resell cheaper clothing for higher prices? Because I feel like I've seen that a lot in my generation.
Yeah, well, first off, like, do you guys know what Depop is?
No.
I don't.
So Depop is like this. It's basically like a online thrifting store. So people like
Oh.
eBay.
yeah, it's like eBay, yeah, basically. But like people buy stuff from the thrift stores and they put it out. It's like you can get it on the app, and then people just sell it for like so much money. Like I could show you right now.
Or the
Like a
original price
t-shirt?
or higher.
Yeah, like a T-shirt that would be like $5 Goodwill. They sell it for like 23 plus, like 25 plus.
Wow.
Yeah, and you have
Yeah.
to pay for shipping. Sometimes.
And it's just like, oh, that vintage look,
Yeah.
the 90s baby tee, and it's like worth like $30, even though you
Yeah.
could find one at like Goodwill or like any store.
That is, to me, such an
Yeah.
interesting question. Because, I mean, this thing has always existed where people resell something that's old for, like, really expensive. Like, whether it's baseball cards or, like, I don't know, things become vintage or retro.
Yeah, true.
But, like, they're
But
still
it's
the
clothing.
same. You know, they're still the same thing. You know, it's not like a
Yeah.
T-shirt's gonna do something more special. It's just a T-shirt. But because the question was whether it's ethical. Obviously, I wouldn't say it's not ethical, but I would say it's not. It's like
I
not
feel like-
smart.
I feel
No,
like
it
it's not
takes
right.
away-
Not
And it's
nice,
not. It's
or-
not helpful.
no,
Yeah.
it takes
No,
away
because-
from the
helps anything.
sorry.
Yeah,
No.
go
It
ahead.
takes
Yeah.
away from the special thing that was thrifting. Like they invented thrift, I'm pretty sure, for
Exactly.
lower income people. Like, why are you taking that away? That's
Yeah.
Goodwill.
Like
Yeah.
Goodwill is like a donation place.
yeah, that's what. it
And
is.
they're literally using that to their advantage. Capitalism.
Yeah, exactly.
For
That's
real.
Whatever.
another
Capitalism
topic.
won
Yeah.
again.
Capitalism took over.
It's
All
fine.
right. No, I think that's that. What's the next question? I like that.
And
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
do you guys think like rich people should be allowed to thrift, or like people with higher income, I guess? Like
I mean,
No, I'm sorry, but like no. I feel like if you have enough money, like you can easily go to like a store and buy it. Like there's people that wear Lululemon, like high end brands, and they go thrifting. Like you have enough. That one shirt costs like $100. Like I feel like you should leave it to people that really can't afford it. Like the bins, like I know like there's like a lot of homeless people that go there to like buy their clothes. Like I don't know. And also you need to define like what rich is. And obviously I'm saying no,
Yeah.
but like you can't stop everyone from doing it.
I feel like some
Mhm.
people just like the title of like kind of being
Thrifting?
dirty and like
Oh.
kind of being like like thrifting and like
Mhm.
having that title of like, oh yeah, I thrifted this.
oh
like
yeah, like
Or
my
like the
dad didn't buy it,
uniqueness.
like, you know, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just I don't know, like they like especially during like I think like after COVID, people started dressing more like they started doing like more like thrift stores type of stuff, and like people do like a bunch of videos like that, and then like it would just kind of like make me kind of upset because it's like you're taking away like the real thing for what those donation places were originally for. I don't know.
yeah. No, I could definitely see that because at first, when you first asked the question to me, I was just like, oh, well, it's like, you know, like I would think like people can shop where they want to shop. Like it didn't seem to like bug me, but then when you think about the real meaning of, you know, or what Goodwill and Salvation Army and the donations are for, it's like it's not for just like people just to come and have like feel trendy or feel like better, even though it's like they're already doing fine, you know. It's like some people really need this stuff, and it is like, yeah, it's like you said, like kind of taking away
Yeah.
a
Also like
resource.
I feel like if you go thrifting now, like you see so many, like it's like, more harder to thrift stuff. Like I don't know, I've noticed that. Like I remember like 2017, like when I first started getting into thrifting, like there was not, it was popular, but it wasn't like super popular. Like I feel like it was. You remember like taking us to like Goodwill and stuff, but like now you go to thrifting, it's like there's hella people.
There's a
and,
lot of people, yeah, when you go to
Yeah.
the bins in the
Yeah.
city, and
Yeah.
it's like it's not so much as like, yeah, you know, because when we go, it's like obviously you'd see people that, you know, could be homeless or could be like really like
need it.
yeah,
Oh.
or the struggling, and then nowadays it's like you kind of see more just like people who maybe are like just young and
Yeah,
Like
It's
I don't know.
They
it's
want
just,
the title. Of
Yeah,
I'm
like,
and
trying to
it-
think of like a good like way to describe it,
Like,
but
I'm
so
not to be like
competitive
insensitive.
too.
yeah, I feel like some people don't even think about it though. Like they're just like I feel like a lot of people don't think too deep into thrifting.
it's one thing to like you say you're thrifting for yourself and then you're like, this doesn't fit me, because sometimes there's no fitting rooms at the bins or whatever, and then you can resell it, I feel like, for a reasonable price. But I feel like the people that sell, they're on Depop, they like get a lot of clothes and then they sell it, like they kind of hog it. Like I understand, like if you're selling one or two pieces, like you don't want it, like you don't want to wear it anymore.
And
but
usually those people already have money
yeah,
that
Yeah,
the ones are reselling.
I feel like that's the big thing is like it just depends on like, is this person really in need, like, you know, where it's like, oh, maybe they went to the thrift store because they were like, you know, they struggle with finding clothes and they don't have a lot of like money or resources and stuff, and then but then they did try, when they tried to resell it for like more expensive, it's like, oh, that's kind of another way of being resourceful because they are someone who's struggling financially. But when it's like someone who's like doesn't really need it and they're just like, oh, like
It's usually that
It's-
way though. Like it's
okay.
usually like them already having these like opportunities, or I guess to like afford better clothing, but they still like, I don't know.
interesting.
I guess it's a big thing, like, cause I want to say it's kind of like collecting stuff, but not really, because it's like clothing. Like everybody wears clothes like every day, and
Yeah.
like with
It's
other
not,
stuff,
like,
it's
some
like
mint
Legos. It's like
thing,
it's not
yeah.
like a specific thing. Like people collect coins or like pennies and like
or even like movies or
yeah,
dolls.
like I get that. Like I get that you could put a higher price for that, but when you get at the store for literally like what you said, $5, and then they resell it for 30, I feel like that's kind of messed up to just
Kind of
I don't
a
know.
rip-off.
Yeah.
No, you guys are right. Like, you know, thrifting and Goodwill was meant to be like a social thing where it helped
Like
people
a,
in need.
yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm not against people reselling stuff because it's their time. A lot of times, you know, people donate stuff at Goodwill. You know, they're just throwing stuff away, and you know, it is their time to like resell. Like, you know, you do have to. I don't know, but it's like I don't think I should judge whether or not somebody deserves to buy this, because you shouldn't separate like us versus them, like, or whatever. But
I get what you mean.
you know, like it's just at the same time, like there is kind of an element of sustainability by reusing old things.
Yeah,
so
that's what.
everyone should do that outside of Goodwill.
That is another thing where it's just like, hey, maybe these people that, like, I mean, like, I feel like, well, I don't know if this is really, like, about, like, reselling, because I think it's good for, like, people to just donate things when they're done using it and giving it to, like, these donation places and, like, thrift stores and everything.
It's like, I'm not gonna use it, but somebody else could.
Yeah, and, I mean, yeah, sometimes, like, maybe if they're looking to make a quick buck and easy money, it's like, hey, that can also help them with financial stuff. I think it's just hard when it's like, you know they're like overselling it.
For some
maybe.
reason, I'm thinking about like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and you know, like that kid was poor in the movie, and you know, but he didn't have anything, but he still like he was, you know, in his chocolate factory where he could get everything, and all these people failed to like all these tests, and even though he was poor, he was able to like, I don't know, win because he still gave everything he had. Does that make sense? Is that like a weird metaphor to use for this? But
I don't really understand. I don't know.
like,
I
cause he
feel
was poor and he was in this, and like the chocolate factory is the thrift store. I don't know. Anyway, Lindsay, this is your
Trying
podcast.
hard to understand.
Yeah,
I'm
I
from a
don't
different
really
country.
understand. I think you're just saying
That
because
is a
he's
bit of a
poor and
stretch,
like
but-
poor people go to thrift
I mean,
stores.
I guess chocolate clothes, but I mean, because I liked that movie where it's like, and
Willy
this
Wonka.
kind of goes back
Willy
to
Wonka.
thrifting, because it's like people being grateful, you know,
Yeah.
because it's like
I
that's
think
what
that's
More
so
Charlie
good.
grateful
was.
people in the life.
Charlie
in the
was.
world.
Closure of the podcast, and I think we got all.
Closure.
I think
I think we all. I love like
our different opinions
Yeah,
of
and
like,
it's like
even if it's like we
different
barely
generation.
talk generations, it's just
Yeah.
like
Well, and also just experiences like in our lives too,
Yeah.
because it's like
But Lindsay was
Mm.
saying that the closure was the being grateful for, or what were you gonna say? Like,
no, I feel like that's a good like ending.
Ending point.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
that.
I like that.
Eat the rich.
I like that laugh. I like that laugh.
Well, I'm
Like that
grateful to
laugh.
be in this podcast.
Me too.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
If anybody's
Bye.
listening.
Thanks for having us, Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks.
Cool
sister.
shirt, by the way.
Linds.
Sis.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Sissy.
Please subscribe. Wendy, darling.
Even got them up.